My experience, when the students come into the class, a lot of times they talk in terms of slogans. They'll say jobs for all, end racism, these very large things that are good at maybe a rally, but are not good for social action. So I see my goal is to take those very lofty ideas, these slogans, and say, what would that look like on this campus or in this community or in this state or in this nation? What policy could we change? That usually takes 2 to 3 classes to help them move from slogans to actual policies. I start off getting them to begin with how do they think social change happens, and then starting to get them to think, if you could change one policy in the world, what would it be? So there's some early things that I'm trying to do to get them to start thinking about it. Like I just don't walk in the room and say, what policy you want to change? I move them through a process. As a faculty member, I tell them, I don't care what you change. It's not up to me what to decide. You all decide what you want to change, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm going to teach you the democratic skills and how to gain power and how to get enough power to actually go after and go talk to the target and to exert power to get your target to say yes when they want to generally say no. I think it's super important that there's no political indoctrination. I think it's the only way that I'm allowed to do what I do on the campus is that I'm super clear in my language everywhere I go. And I differentiate myself, by the way, from other people who are progressive. I'm personally a progressive, but in this class, I'm not a progressive in the sense of students can choose whatever they want. My books aren't only from a progressive perspective. I have students read the NRA. I have students read about the Tea Party, about how they're bringing about change and say they're using strategies and tactics. And this is about strategies and tactics and about power. And so we can learn from the left and the right. I don't do a history of those campaigns as much as what can we learn about tactics, strategy, building power, and media when we're looking at these campaigns. So I differentiate myself from some folks that are teaching progressive social change. Now, my students do a lot of progressive work, but that's up to them. And it's the only way I could survive. The university would have said, no, you have to stop doing that. But I'm clear in my language, no political indoctrination. I repeat it all the time. Students develop and choose what campaigns they work on. They can change with any campaign within the 4 or 5 that are going. So again, it's just all totally up to them. I say to my students that 60 to 7% of the campaigns generally are on the campus because the question comes, I can't do this because it's too much work. But if you say to the students, it's going to be on the campus anyway, if you choose that you can have a campaign right here, it does a couple of things. It allows for them to easily do the work and have the campaign focus on something on the campus. And if the students are the community, it gets away from the criticism that sometimes we get, which is our students are going into the community and don't know very much about the community. So it gets away from that since the students are the community in this instance. When the 30 to 40% of the students that are doing campaigns with a community-based organization that wants them, that sees a place for them in the work, and that they become a student wing of that campaign, they're working hand in hand with the community itself. They're not the leaders of that. The community is the leaders, but they're in support of that. And again, that gets away from the idea that kind of the worst kind of fear of our, young people that don't know much going out and organizing in the community where they don't have very much knowledge. Maybe the most important thing that we as teachers, whether faculty, staff or students doing this, is to help them get into a project that they're passionate about. Because if they're not passionate about it, it's not going to go anywhere. I always say, these are always, particularly in the beginning, but actually throughout the whole thing, is that if you're not feeling passionate about it, change projects. So to get to your passion, because they might go along because they can't think of a good one or nothing seemed their interest, and they join one. But I say you can move. You can move even in the middle of the semester. There's usually 3 to 5 campaigns going on, and there's one that they can find where they have some level of passion.